Welcome back, YouTube. We're here with another reaction. Today we are doing Audit the Audit, and the name of this video is These Cops Tried Everything, but He Knew His Rights. So today on Between the Lines, we are reacting to Audit the Audit. We just did a couple of other reactions. Go back and check those out. We've got a whole playlist full of different reaction and reaction genres. So go ahead and check that stuff out and let us know what you think. If you like this video, like, subscribe, and comment down below. Let us know what kind of content you do want to see. If you like this, then that'll let us know that you like this kind of video, and we'll put out more. So just let us know what you want to see, and we'll get it on there. So until today, we've kind of done what, maybe 3 Audit the Audit videos?
Yeah.
So this has kind of become sort of a staple on the channel. We like this guy. We like the way he breaks down the video. We like the way he puts the sources in there and cites the precedents and so on and so forth. So without further ado, go check out Audit the Audit's channel, and we'll go ahead and get into this video. This is Audit the Audit, and these cops tried everything, but he knew his rights. I like it when they know their rights. Disclaimer. Suppose I should show you the whole
Welcome to
disclaimer.
Audit the Audit, where we sort out the who and what and the right and wrong of police interactions.
This guy needs to do
This
a
episode
Halloween
covers
video.
vehicle
Oh, that'd be
searches,
great.
trespassing, and profanity, and is brought to us by You People's channel.
Welcome
Be sure
to
check
Audit
out
the
description
Coffin.
below and give them the credit that they deserve. In a video posted on July 28th, 2022, YouTuber Joshua Lloyd was filming himself on the berm of 19th Avenue in Phoenix, Arizona, while engaging in the outdoor recreational activity known as geocaching, where participants attempt to find containers called geocaches or caches that other players hide in locations around the world. After Mr. Lloyd was searching for the cache for
Does
about 30
Pokemon
minutes,
Go?
Officer Philip Fortuna of the Phoenix Police Department, along with his partner, who only identified himself by his badge number of 8632, responded to a call that an unknown individual made regarding Mr. Lloyd's presence in the area.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you soon, and we'll see you later. Oh, hold on. We got the cops.
Oh no.
Bad boys,
Gonna run
what
my
you bum?
license plate. Morning. Can I help you?
I don't know if we help you. Do you live here?
No, but this is public, correct?
I'm not sure on that. Could be private property.
Could be, but if there was, I do believe there would be a sign posted somewhere, right?
Not necessarily.
Oh, well, I mean,
Somebody called on you. Is that your car?
that is my car.
Okay. Well, if it is public.
I mean, I would figure it's public. You have electric access here.
Is
You
it
have
public
you have a
property?
you
Is
have
that
a
public
you have a
property right there?
state issued sign.
Is that public property right there?
Where? Right there?
Yeah, right just north of us.
Could possibly be, because it's easement.
Okay. Everybody in your car?
No, just me. But if you want to go check, go ahead, go check.
Can I get your permission to do anything else?
No,
Do I need your permission?
Yes.
no,
Do
because
I need your permission to check the car?
you would need my permission to go inside the car.
No, but you just said if you want to go check if there's someone else in the car. Do I
Oh
need
yeah,
your-
yeah, go check and
No, but-
you can go look
no, no,
in
you're
and see if.
What, you're not going to be able to
I
see?
need you to tell me to go ahead to do it, or can I do it on my own?
Well, I mean, you could do it on your own. You can do a plain view search.
Okay, good. Just making sure I thought you were under the impression you had to give me permission.
To go inside the car, you need permission.
Not necessarily.
What do you mean, not necessarily?
Who is
Officer
this guy?
8632 asks Mr. Lloyd whether he needs permission to look inside his vehicle, and Mr. Lloyd confirms that he does not, but argues that officers do need permission to go into vehicles. In general, officers are permitted to search a vehicle without a warrant when they have received consent from the driver. However, the Supreme Court has identified several other exceptions to the warrant requirement of the Fourth Amendment that allow officers to search vehicles without consent under certain circumstances, such as when a protective search is necessary for the officer's safety, or if the suspect is arrested and the search is conducted pursuant to the arrest. Additionally, in the 1925 case of Carroll versus United States, the Supreme Court held that a warrantless search of an automobile by police officers who had probable cause to believe the vehicle contained contraband was not unreasonable within the meaning of the Fourth Amendment. One way that an officer can obtain probable cause to search a vehicle without a warrant is through the so-called plain view doctrine.
I think we covered some of this on some of the podcasts that we did on the Fourth Amendment and the Fifth Amendment. So if you guys want to go back and check those things out, we did do a couple of podcasts on that. But
I'm going to make a very astute commentary here. That cop is a dick.
he is kind of like he's coming off a little aggressive.
Yeah.
And I'm not exactly sure, where he's going with that. But so far, in my opinion, just throwing it out there, not that it means a whole heck of a lot, but in my opinion, that guy is completely right. They are allowed to, walk by the car. They can look in the windows, anything that's in plain view.
They can't go in.
But they cannot, even if it's unlocked, they cannot go in and search that vehicle unless, and this is what he's describing right now, unless they see something in plain view. If you got a crack pipe in your cup holder in plain view, then that gives them probable cause to search the vehicle completely.
Because doesn't the what was it we looked at that constitutes or establishes a car with the same parameters as a house?
Yes,
would be?
yeah. There's been addendums, so to speak, precedent to the Fourth Amendment that basically states that your car is the same as your house.
I mean, it's not like you're me or anything and just blow a house down or something. It's like if they could blow the doors off, I guess they could,
Yeah, exactly.
inadvertently reach in and grab said object.
So anyway, we'll continue, but I think that what the officer said was true, but he was being a dick about it.
In the 1983 case of Texas versus Brown, the Supreme Court explained that, quote, the plain view doctrine provides grounds for a warrantless seizure of a suspicious item when the officer's access to the item has some prior justification under the Fourth Amendment. In this case, the court found that an officer did not violate the Fourth Amendment by shining his flashlight into a car and changing his position to see what was inside because, quote, the seizure of property in plain view involves no invasion of privacy and is presumptively reasonable, assuming that there is cause to associate.
If it's in plain, like if you grow a pot plant in the picture window of your living room and a cop walks by and sees the pot plant growing in the picture window of your living room, he has probable cause to search the entire house, within reason, or at least maybe not the entire house. He would have probable cause to search the room that pot plant is. So I do correct myself there. He wouldn't. There's no such thing as a what do they call that? A general warrant, unless you're
no, officer, it's potpourri.
Unless you're 45.
Potpourri.
The property with criminal activity. Additionally, in the 1990 case of Horton versus California,
Horton versus
the Supreme
who?
Court determined that a plain view seizure does not need to be the result of an officer inadvertently seeing the item, holding that, quote, even though inadvertence is a characteristic of most legitimate plain view seizures, it is not a necessary condition. In reaching this conclusion, the court reasoned that although it is, quote, an essential predicate to any valid warrantless seizure of incriminating evidence that the officer did not violate the Fourth Amendment in arriving at the place from which the evidence could be plainly viewed, plain view evidence could be seized as long as its incriminating character is quote-unquote immediately apparent, and the officer has a lawful right of access to the object itself. Applying this precedent, it is likely that a court would conclude that the Phoenix officers did not violate Mr. Lloyd's Fourth Amendment rights by looking in his car windows, and that if they saw any contraband while looking in the windows, they would have been within their authority to seize it.
You like the walking stick? I mean, would you guys like my name? I'll give you my name. You don't have to run the plate for it because my name's not on the plate. My name is Josh.
Josh?
Mm-hmm.
Josh what?
Lloyd. L-L-O-Y-D.
Is it Josh or Joshua?
It's Joshua.
Hey, Phil.
Joshua Lloyd.
Huh?
Joshua.
You're not towing my car.
We may have to tow it. It's not registered to him. It's registered to a female. it's abandoned, it's left on the roadway running. I'm not going to leave it here.
Oh, this guy is a dick.
Yeah, I told you.
This guy is a dick. Oh my God, this guy is a dick. So what he's saying now is the car's not registered to him and it's left running on the side of the road, so he's going to come and tow it. He's going to have it towed. This guy borrowed his friend's car. That's not illegal. It's not illegal to borrow somebody's car, and it's not illegal to leave your car running on the side of the road. It's not. So this guy is ticking me off.
I might blow his house down.
This guy is ticking me off.
Ooh,
Just running. So let's get a hold of
really?
boss, and we'll find out if for safekeeping. Otherwise, somebody's going to make off with this thing.
Yeah. Are you serious? Not even gonna question me on who it's registered to? Would you like the insurance and registration?
No, you're not driving it. Why would I ask for that?
It's just
You're-
parked
are
right
you
now.
Are you driving it right now?
No, it's parked.
Okay, so you're not driving.
No,
Sure. What's your name?
Joshua Lloyd.
Joshua.
Lloyd.
I'm going to try and get a hold of the owner, see if they know where the car is. Otherwise, left here
She'll
on the
tell you
road.
that her son-in-law has it. You're gonna let him act like that. Just because I'm standing over here next to a wall, and you guys haven't even asked me what I'm doing. You guys go over to my car, give me the third degree, and you don't even like, hey man, what are you doing? I even like turned around, I gave you the thumbs up. He comes out all hard. Why?
This guy's completely right too. Like
Yeah.
this cop right here should be like, hey, come on, man.
Back off a little.
Come on, man. Back off.
I'm not trying to catch you in anything, man. Asking a simple question. That's a hell of an investigation skill you guys got there.
Have you been allowed to use the car?
I live with her, yes, and I'm allowed to use the car, hence
Okay.
the reason why I have it.
Okay, all right. Well, we're going to do some research, find out whose property that is. You got your name, your information. If it turns out that it is private property.
I don't think it
and-
would be
No,
private property.
I don't think. That's why I'm going to find out for sure whose property. it
Okay, you
belongs to.
go ahead for sure.
I don't need your permission to check out whose property it is, but I appreciate you giving me the go-ahead. I will look into that.
Officer 86
This guy is a
says
dick.
He does
Yeah.
not know if the location where Mr. Lloyd was geocaching is public or private property, but he
I would wanna
claims
break the
he
law
will
just because.
investigate the
Yeah.
matter further to determine if he will author a report for trespassing. According to the Maricopa County Assessor's Office parcel viewer,
This is why I love Audit the Audit. Just throwing that in there. This guy, he's going into public land records to see if it's private property. I love this
the
guy.
area where Mr. Lloyd was filming, which is located at the intersection of Selden Lane and 19th Avenue, appears to be public property, as the closest parcel of privately owned real estate starts on the other side of the wall. Regardless of the property's ownership, Mr. Lloyd could not be convicted of trespassing because he did not violate any of Arizona's trespassing statutes. Under Section 13-1504 of the Arizona Revised Statutes, one of the ways an individual can commit criminal trespass in the first degree is by knowingly entering or remaining unlawfully in or on a residential structure or in a fenced residential yard.
In.
The statute also
Yes.
prohibits, quote,
He was outside.
entering any residential yard
And it's a
without
sidewalk.
lawful authority.
And not only that, but I do believe that they have to ask you to leave before it can be trespassing.
Yeah.
Like if you just wander onto somebody's property and don't know that you're in the wrong place, you know what I mean? You're not trespassing
Well,
until you know you're trespassing.
It's a sidewalk. It's a freaking sidewalk
Exactly.
that he's standing on.
Exactly.
And this is just in Philadelphia, interesting enough, every single freaking house almost has a sidewalk in front of it because,
yeah, it's a city.
that's a city. So anyways, it's your property when you have to get it fixed. It's the city's property when somebody falls on it. So it's like a double standard, of
Yeah,
course, in the city.
but at least you're not liable if somebody falls on the city sidewalk. You know
Exactly.
What I mean? So
Yeah.
Authority looking into the residential structure thereon in reckless disregard of infringing on the inhabitant's right of privacy. Likewise, Section 13-1503 of the revised statutes defines criminal trespass in the second degree as, quote, knowingly entering or remaining unlawfully in or on any non-residential structure or in any fence.
And I do want to point out again, sorry that we keep pausing it, but I do want to point out again that the key word in all of this is knowingly.
Yeah.
You can't. Ignorance is a defense in some cases, and if you don't know that you're on private property,
Yeah.
I mean, for the same reason, you can't just go shooting somebody because they're on your
Yeah.
property. But if they remain and threaten you, then that's a
Yeah.
different story.
Against commercial yard. And Section 13-1502 describes criminal
Be like
trespassing
claiming a
third
FedEx
degree,
person
quote,
was
Yeah,
"no
exactly.
invading your
entering or
property.
remaining unlawfully on any real property after a reasonable request to leave by a law enforcement officer, the owner, or any other person having lawful control over such property, or reasonable notice prohibiting entry." However, it should be noted that
Of course,
under
I love the
Arizona law,
mailman,
individuals
personally.
can be convicted of trespassing on both private and public property. In the 1995 case of State versus Barr, Division 1 of the Court of Appeals of Arizona held the state's third-degree trespassing law applies to both private and public property because, quote, "there is no indication in the statute or elsewhere that the legislature intended to limit this criminal trespass statute solely to private property. The legislature could have distinguished between private and public property, but did not. Rather, it used the phrase any real property in the definition of this offense." Here, Mr. Lloyd was in an unfenced area of land, not a structure or fenced yard, and he was clearly not looking into any residential structures, as he was separated from all the nearby private homes by roads and the wall. As he also had not received a request to leave, Mr. Lloyd could not have been convicted of any degree of trespassing for his actions.
Can I have your name and badge number, please? Your card?
8632.
Your card, please. I have a bad memory.
You're recording.
Okay. Can I have your name and badge number, please? All right. Thank you. I greatly appreciate that.
He just thumbs.
You know, hold on. Before you go and give me the lecture, how about before you come up all hard on somebody, you ask them what they're doing?
Use profanity, Josh. Do the research and find out whose property you're on because you may be breaking the law.
It's public property, I can tell you that.
Stating that as a fact.
I am. I'm stating it as a fact because I like with you guys.
Well, now you're using more profanity.
I can use profanity. It's the First Amendment. You cannot restrict my speech, not unless it's fighting words. If I use it to emphasize my sentences,
wow.
I can use
This
it
guy's,
to
like,
emphasize
giving them
my
a-
sentences. If one man's curse word is another man's
Check out our podcast on
Yeah.
the First Amendment
Yeah.
regarding fighting words.
lyric.
This guy's.
He's
this
well
guy-
versed.
He was ready for him.
Do the research.
Have a good day.
You too.
Officer 8632 claims that Mr. Lloyd's use of profanity towards him could be considered disorderly conduct.
Bullshit.
That he has the authority to
That's
restrict
some
Mr.
bullshit.
Lloyd's speech. According to Section 13-2904 of the Arizona Revised Statutes,
Yeah.
quote, "a person commits disorderly conduct if, with intent to disturb the peace or quiet of a neighborhood,
Wonder if
family,
the
or
other cop
person,
was new.
or with knowledge of
he
doing
looked
so,
pretty
such person
green.
makes
Yeah.
unreasonable noise or uses abusive
Which I'm going to point out, which makes what the other cop did even worse.
Yeah.
Because now what you're doing
He's
is
setting
he's
standard.
setting a standard. He's telling that young cop, he's setting an example for that young cop that this is how we do things.
Yep.
This is how we treat citizens, and we use sarcasm and cynical responses instead of professionalism and courtesy.
or offensive language or gestures to any person present in a manner likely to provoke immediate physical retaliation by such person.
Fighting
Additionally,
words.
Section 23-3 of the Phoenix City Code states that, quote, "every person who maliciously and willfully disturbs the peace or quiet of any neighborhood, family, or person by loud or unusual noise, or by tumultuous or offensive conduct, or by threatening, traducing, quarreling, challenging to fight or fighting, or who applies any violent or abusive or obscene epithets to another, is guilty of a misdemeanor." However, statutes like these must be read with the protections of the First Amendment in mind. And as the Supreme Court held in the 1971 case of Cohen versus California, which Mr. Lloyd paraphrased in his conversation with Officer 8632, the First Amendment prohibits a state from criminalizing the mere use of profanity, quote, "absent a more particularized and compelling reason for its actions." The decision also recognized that speech does not simply communicate information. Rather, it conveys a specific emotional message created by the words
I like
the
the
speaker
stock.
chooses. The court concluded that the government
approve.
cannot forbid particular words without also running a substantial risk
It's a
of
very
suppressing
real
ideas
courtroom.
in the process, and that, as Mr. Lloyd pointed out, quote, one man's
That's the
vulgarity
most
is another's
real
lyric.
courtroom
It
I've
should
ever
be
seen.
noted that the fact that Mr. Lloyd used profanity in conversation with a police officer is
I can't
also
make fun
relevant
too
to the
much. We use the
analysis.
generic
In the
stock photos,
1987
too.
case of City of Houston versus Hill, the Supreme Court stated that, quote, the First Amendment protects a
Maybe he uses the
significant
same
amount of
software
verbal
platform
criticism
we
and
do.
challenge
Does.
directed at police officers. Speech is often provocative and challenging, but it is nevertheless protected against censorship or punishment,
Yep.
unless shown likely to produce a clear and present danger of a serious, substantive evil that rises far above public inconvenience, annoyance, or unrest. Here, the court would likely conclude that because Mr. Lloyd's use of profanity did not rise to the level of fighting words, it was protected by the First Amendment, and he therefore could not be convicted of disorderly conduct for his speech.
Well, guys, I got 2 videos out of that. 811-229-G546HY.
After the
a
officers
long
left,
freaking
Mr. Lloyd
license plate.
briefly
Yeah, it
got
is.
into his vehicle, then continued to film as he walked around the area. About 5 minutes later, he found the same officers detaining a man in handcuffs. Mr. Lloyd filmed the officers arresting the man and placing him in the cruiser with the aid of 2 other officers. The officers did not acknowledge Mr. Lloyd or make any attempt to interfere with his filming. According to Mr. Lloyd's response to a comment on the original video, he filed a complaint against the officers and included a link to the video. In a response to another comment, Mr. Lloyd stated that he would not be pursuing legal action against the officers because his constitutional rights were not violated during the interaction. Overall, Officer 8632 gets a C.
What?
Because although Mr. Lloyd is
Nah.
correct in stating that the officers did not violate his Fourth Amendment rights
would've
during the
given him less than
interaction,
that.
Officer 8632 maintained a hostile, argumentative, and condescending demeanor throughout
Well,
the
at least he
encounter,
pointed that out.
attempted to
Yeah.
censor Mr. Lloyd's speech, and threatened to file a trespassing report against Mr. Lloyd, and he could not have been trespassing for
I guess-
Arizona law. As Mr. Lloyd
I guess he
pointed out,
has to
Officer
judge it based
8632
off of the
was
actual
aggressive
actions
from
that they
the
I
very
guess.
beginning
not
of
so
the
much.
interaction. And instead of asking Mr.
I mean,
Lloyd
that
what he
kinda
was
makes
doing,
sense.
he seemed to be looking for any reason at all to arrest him or tow his vehicle. Officer Fortuna gets a B. Because although he did not
Yeah.
engage in negative interactions with Mr.
But he
Lloyd
also
his
didn't
partner
stop
did,
it.
He ignored Officer 8632's
Exactly.
behavior
Yeah.
and did not attempt to correct him or de-escalate the situation. Based on his facial expressions and exchanges with Mr. Lloyd, Officer Fortuna seemed to be amused
He
with
smiled
the
through the
situation
whole-
and appeared to be enjoying Mr. Lloyd's willingness to stand up to his partner. This indicates that Officer Fortuna was aware
probably
that
deals with
Officer
it every single
8632's
freaking
behavior
day.
was unprofessional and over the top.
Thanks,
While it is
Mr.
possible that
Fortuna.
Officer Fortuna spoke to Officer 8632 privately.
Talk,
or took other
talk
steps
to
to
Mr.
address his conduct.
8632 dickhole. Tell him to lighten
Counter
up.
highlights why it is so important for officers to confront their peers on their inappropriate actions. Mr. Lloyd gets an A for remaining relatively polite
And
respectful
shirtless.
throughout
I
the
would have given him an
encounter,
A- for
understanding
not
and
having a shirt
exercising
on in
his First
person.
Amendment rights, and filing
I
a
mean-
That's,
complaint
Burt
with the
Kreischer's
appropriate
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
authority
say. If he was
after the
Burt
interaction.
Kreischer,
Although
you
Mr.
know,
Lloyd
it'd be one-
volunteered his name when he was not asked for it or required to provide it, in response to a comment on the original video, Mr. Lloyd explained that he did so intentionally, stating that, quote,
Oh, you
"This
know,
is
it
how
is Arizona,
police
so
and
it's that
everyone
dry
that
heat,
supports the
so-
police say we should act with the police. Didn't work out how they say it works out. It's funny to me how I act the way they say I should, and I still got that encounter." It should also be noted that Mr. Lloyd considers himself to be a so-called cop watcher rather than an auditor, and I commend him for taking the time to learn about his constitutional rights and even garner knowledge of Supreme Court case law. Let us know if there is an interaction
Yeah, that was pretty-
or legal
Yay.
topic
Yay.
you'd like us to discuss
That
in the
was a
comments
good one.
below. Thank you for watching. And
Yeah,
don't
that
forget
was-
to check
that
out
was
my
pretty
second
good.
channel for even more police interaction content.
Yeah, go check out Audit the Audit. We really enjoy their videos, especially I do. I mean, I watch them in my private time too, quite a bit. I've learned a lot about Supreme Court precedent and a lot of other things from this guy, and I really like the way that he cites everything. If you go to his channel and you look at his videos, he has links to all of the precedents. He has links to all of the court decisions. He has links to all of the other stuff. The wolf's got fleas today. So I guess, go check out some of our other stuff. If you like that video, like, comment, subscribe. do the whole YouTube thing. If you want to see more of this kind of content, just let us know. Whatever you do want to see us react to, we're pretty receptive to different suggestions. So until next time, take care of yourselves
See ya.
and each other.